what do the numbers mean on a bag of fertilizer? You know, every fertilizer has a guaranteed analysis on it, but in so many cases, I don't think many gardeners really know what those numbers actually mean. So today we're going to learn how and what those numbers mean and how to use those properly in whether it's your vegetable garden or your flower beds or for your trees or for even your lawn as well too, because it's essential that you know what those numbers are and what they actually do so that you can pick the right fertilizer for the right job. So the very first number is nitrogen, and nitrogen is very simply is going to make your plants green up, and it's going to make them grow. So the nitrogen encourages growth, and it really greens the plants up and makes them grow. The second number is phosphorus. The phosphorus encourages root development, flower production, and fruit production. And so it's essential for vegetables to have that nutrient to encourage root development. Great for root crops like carrots, onions, potatoes, but it also encourages flowers and fruit production. So like on a hanging basket, you want lots of flowers on your petunias, and if it were a vegetable, you'd want them setting fruit. So that phosphorus encourages root development, flower production, and fruit production. So for a lot of people, one of the biggest issues that they have is they have tomato plants that are gigantic. They're big, lush, beautiful, but they're not producing any fruit. So if nitrogen encourages a lot of growth and greens the plants up, which is essential for all kinds of plants, but your plants are getting too big and they're not producing any fruit, one of the problems you might be having is maybe too much nitrogen and not enough phosphorus to encourage that flowering and that fruit production as well too. So really common problem. And the third number is potassium, and potassium is kind of again, very simplistic answer. It's a kind of an all-around nutrient. It does a lot of different things in the plant and in the plant system as well too. But what it really helps with is water absorption and water uptake, and then it helps spread nutrient and water through the plant as well too. It helps with stronger stems. It helps with drought tolerance. It helps with disease and insect resistance. It helps move phosphorus through the plant. So it really facilitates a lot of different systems, a lot of different things that are happening inside the plant all at the same time. So, nitrogen, the best way to remember nitrogen is to think of an arrow pointing up, because it's going to make those plants grow up. So remember, an arrow pointing up is what's going to help you remember that nitrogen makes those plants grow. For the phosphorus, think of an arrow pointing down. An arrow pointing down symbolizes root development, but also remember flower and fruit production as well too. So arrow up for growth, arrow down, root development, flower and fruit production. And then think about an arrow that would go around in a circle and come back to itself. It's, potassium is kind of an all-around nutrient, so an arrow going all the way around. And this is the best way to remember what all those nutrients do, is think of those arrows. So you have something visual, arrow up, arrow down, arrow going all the way around. And then this is how we remember: up, down, and all around. That's what the nutrient really does for your plants. So when you have a fertilizer like blooming and rooting, very high, kind of average nitrogen for top growth, very high phosphorus for root development, flower production, fruit production, and kind of an average potassium, just enough to keep those systems working inside the plant. But when you think of those arrows, you'll think of up, down, and all around. And every time you look at a fertilizer, you'll know exactly what it's good for. So a tree and shrub food, higher nitrogen for more growth. We want that nitrogen to encourage a lot of leaf development and stem and branch growth. Not so much phosphorus. Potassium to help the plant stay healthy and do all the things that it needs to do, picking up water and other nutrients, spreading that through the plant. And that's what's really going to keep your plants healthy and happy. So just remember, up, down, and all around, and that's how you're going to know exactly what each fertilizer does when you're using it in your yard and garden.